Hello, Paradise Panther artists. My name is Mrs. Telfer, and I'm excited to be with you today to tell you about our next master artist, Henri Matisse. Matisse was a French artist who played with color to make cheerful, happy pictures. To us, this may just look like colored paper, but Matisse was a master of the color cutout. He used brightly colored paper, just like this, to create vibrant pieces of art. So let's find out how Matisse's use of color pushed the boundaries of traditional art, inspiring future generations of artists. Here we go. I bet many of you enjoy going to the beach and the ocean. The sun, sand, and water usually come to mind when we think of the ocean. But today, I want you to think of the things under the sea, way out in the depths of the ocean. Let's pretend we're going on a submarine ride, and each of us has a porthole out of which we can see the wonders of the deep, mysterious sea. I wonder what we will see, or what colors will appear through our portholes. Let's get ready for the captain to give the dive command to his crew. And we're off. Bubbles are rushing up as we dive deeper and deeper. The color of the water is getting darker and darker. And your ears might even be popping from the pressure change. I'm beginning to see wonderful colors and shapes down here. Here we see shapes that remind us of the ocean, such as fish, seaweed, and eels. And the sea is not all one temperature. So the different background colors that change from top to bottom in this artwork make us think of the changes in water temperature in the ocean. This picture is titled Beasts of the Sea. The artist is Henri Matisse, and we are going to learn about his life and art today. Matisse did not make his artwork look exactly like an underwater scene that you might view from your submarine porthole. Instead, he painted designs rather than true-to-life pictures. Matisse could have painted things exactly as they looked, but he chose not to. He was interested in colors and shapes. He made pictures that expressed what he saw and what he felt at the same time. Matisse created abstract pictures, art that doesn't look like the real thing. Sometimes he left us clues and didn't totally abstract an object, such as the fish, the seaweed, and the eel shapes. But other times, he created a totally abstract picture from just his feelings. Let's see if we're still at the ocean in this next artwork. Yes, here we are, still at the ocean that Matisse loved. Without using your voice, give me a thumbs up or down if this picture is abstract. Yes, thank you. Your thumb should be up right now. This is an abstract piece of artwork. You can go ahead and put your hands away now. Let's look carefully for clues. The shapes we see that continue this setting of the ocean are the seaweed, the waves, and the snail. The setting or subject of these two pictures is the ocean. The art word for the setting or the subject of a piece of art is motif. The motif of this picture is the sea. Now, I have a clue for your next guessing game. Go ahead and look at the blue square on the right here. There are two white shapes, and I want you to guess what they are. Here is your clue. They show two white animals. This first one on the bottom lives in the ocean and has big, sharp teeth. It has also been the subject of some scary movies. Go ahead and raise a quiet hand if you have an idea what this creature might be, and your teacher will call on you. Yes, this is a shark on the bottom. Now, let's look at the next creature. This other animal lives above the water. It is graceful and white and eats small fish. Go ahead and raise a quiet hand again if you have an idea what this creature might be. Right here. Yes, this is a seagull. Thank you. You can go ahead and put your hands down now. The seagull is the shape on top. I wonder if the shark is about to swallow the bird. Using our imagination is one of the fun things about Matisse's abstract art. Our motif has changed with this slide. It is no longer about the sea. It is totally abstract with very few clues from Matisse. I know it might not look like a person, but it is. If we look carefully at the shapes and the feeling it gives you, we can see that Matisse made a picture of the feeling that he got when he saw an acrobatic dancer perform. The title of this piece of artwork is Acrobatic Dancer. Matisse didn't show us the dancer at all, did he? Instead, we only see three black curved shapes. Try to imagine those black curved shapes moving like the stretched out arms and legs of a moving dancer. Now, look at the white shapes. We can almost imagine them as the frills or ruffles on a dancer's costume. Now, I want you to quickly think of all of the artwork that you've seen today. Matisse created all of them in the same way. He used the same art material or medium to make them all. Instead of using a palette, a paintbrush, chalk, or pastels, Matisse used scissors and colored paper as his medium. Matisse did not use paint, chalk, or pastels to create the art you've seen today. He did use those mediums earlier in his life before he discovered cutouts. Matisse cut sheets of brightly painted paper with scissors. He would draw with his scissors instead of with a pencil. He used his memory for shapes and chose colors to match his feelings. After cutting his shapes, he would pin his cutouts up on a background in an arrangement he liked. Last, when he had created the feeling he was after, he would glue his colorful shapes down. When you do your art activity, you will use Matisse's medium of cut paper, just like he did, and your works of art will be happy and bright with your own special shapes. In a fairy tale, an author tells a story with words and sentences. In his artwork, Matisse tells a story with color and shape. As I tell you this fairy tale, try to follow it in Matisse's artwork, for he is telling the same story. Once upon a time, there was an Arabian king and a princess he wanted to marry. Both were happy about the upcoming wedding, but the princess had a big problem to solve. It was the custom in their country that the king would get rid of his new wife the night after the wedding. The princess was very clever and smart, so the night of their wedding, she started to tell her new husband a fascinating story. But she didn't end the story that night. She told him she would finish it the next day. The king was so interested in knowing the ending that he couldn't get rid of her. And so she continued on day after day, telling her never-ending story. Legend has it that she lived 1001 Arabian nights, telling her stories to the king. Matisse titled this picture, "The 1001 Nights." We can almost read the story with Matisse's use of colors, shapes, and feelings. Besides being a master of shape, Matisse was a master of color too. Our motif has changed to leaves. Let's pretend we are at a Matisse exhibit and you are drawn to the warm colors and want to take a closer look. You keep your eyes on those oranges, yellows, and reds as you walk right up to the piece. The colors are even more beautiful close up. That's one of the thrills of being in an art museum. Let's look at the same leaf shape in other colors against different colored backgrounds. This next color combination is bold. This black shape does not look like a photograph of a leaf. Matisse could have made this leaf look exactly like one I would pick from a tree, but he didn't want to. He wanted to show us something different. He made it his leaf by changing it. Matisse was a genius at color selection, but he was also a master at using positive and negative shapes. Here, the positive shape is the leaf, and the negative shape is the background or the space around the leaf. I'm wondering if color can affect how healthy we feel. Matisse had an alternative to doctor's orders. Let's check this out next. When Matisse's friends were sick, he would take his artwork and place it all around their bed to cheer them up and to try to cure them. Matisse knew all about the magic of color and saw it as a source of happiness and health. He believed that color can affect the way you feel. If you have ever held your fingers up to a light, you know that it can create a shadow or a silhouette. You can even cut your silhouette from paper. It creates the shape of your head or your body. This silhouette is not a shadow of a real person. Matisse made this silhouette more to show his feelings than to make it look like the real thing. An American singer and dancer, Josephine Baker, inspired this cutout. She became an international superstar, and Matisse was a big fan. Matisse chose just the right shade of blue to capture the feeling the entertainer gave him when she was singing. We can picture the rhythm of the notes as she is singing. Notice how Matisse repeated his shapes as notes are repeated in a song. This picture gives us a cheerful feeling. Remember, Matisse wanted people to see his work and have a feeling of happiness and delight. Let's return once more to the motif that will inspire you in your own classroom art activity. Matisse was remembering his earlier travels to the beautiful tropical islands of Polynesia in the Pacific Ocean when he did this cutout. I bet it took Matisse a long time to cut out all of those sea creatures and that fancy border. Matisse had to do lots of cutting for this, but he was very fast with his scissors. Matisse didn't begin his art career with cutout pictures, but with painting. It was in his later years that he chose cutouts as his medium. Let's listen to his words about that choice. The cutout is what I have found to be the simplest and most direct way of expressing myself. Remember, you are going to create your own masterpiece with cutouts, and maybe some of you will feel the same way about it as Matisse did. Great job using your imagination to interpret Matisse's bright, colorful, abstract cutouts. And he would love it if his artwork cheered you up on a gloomy day. In your art activity, you will be creating a masterpiece of cutouts inspired by the sea. Have a great day, Paradise Panther artists. I will see you next time.